Hey everyone, welcome to this edition of the Global Crypto Market Analysis with myself, James.
And myself, Graham.
And this edition is proudly sponsored by the DeFi Conference. It's proudly hosted by Bitcoin Events, the same people that bring you Crypto Fest, Blockchain Africa, and they have an event on the 5th of August which is entirely free. It's a virtual event. You can register for it by simply going to bitcoinevents.co.za, or the link will be in our description below. It's entirely free, and if you want to learn more about DeFi, then this is the place to go.
Awesome. I mean, the DeFi space is so exciting right now.
It is.
And I, for one, also need to understand a bit more about the space in order to have an educated opinion about it. But the early signs I've seen are very exciting from what it's offering.
It is very exciting. There's been a lot more talk about it. I know Richard D'Souza of Altcoin Trader was very much an early adopter to the various opportunities of DeFi. I'm pretty sure that he's involved in this one. But check him out. We're proud media sponsors. It's bitcoinevents.co.za. Now, Graham, we continue to be rather boring.
Absolutely. So, the market's moved largely sideways since our last market analysis. So not too much action in the way of price activity. But maybe a chance to zoom out and look at the bigger picture again, take stock. I'm slightly more bearish this week than last week with the recent developments.
Well, 2 weeks ago. We're 2 weeks.
2 weeks ago.
I think it was.
Well, the market really has been asleep then.
There you go.
Yeah, so let's jump into it. I've got the weekly chart set up here.
All right, what are you seeing?
So, again, we're seeing the big macro triangle here, which is still in play. This is still my high probability setup or highest probability setup rather on the long-term time frame. The recent price activity that we've had is leaning me more to the bearish side in the short term. So we've had this extended period of consolidation after a decent up run from the start of May. But in my opinion, it's running out of steam, it's running out of momentum, and I think that we're looking more and more likely like we're going to roll over. And I think that your 6,800 level, which is discussed many times before, will most likely act as a decent probability level of support if we do get that down leg and if that does start to materialize. So that's the first level that I'll be looking to potentially buy at for my long-term holdings if we do get that dip. Anything below that 6,000 I think is also a significant level. Below that, I think that that would really be a great opportunity to buy if we do get below that level. But I'll be comfortable buying again between 6,000 and 6,800 level personally.
All right, so you're not only bearish on this macro chart in the short term, of course, but there's a couple of other indicators as well. One being the monthly chart, which just closed yesterday.
100%. So now's a great time to look at that monthly chart because we have just closed out for the month of June. So this most recent candle that we've got is not a bullish candle, in my opinion. It's a spinning top that's coming off the end, coming at the end of this recent up leg. And we've had similar candles previously, in June 2019 and August 2019, and that's were the early signs of an indication of a sell-off that then materialized later in 2019. So I think we could see something similar play out to what we saw last year. So this is just another reason that I'm fairly bearish in the short term.
You say that sell-off materialized a few months later. So just because that monthly close indicates a bearish scenario, we may not see that sell-off even in this month to come. It could even come a little bit later down the road.
For sure. So this is a monthly time frame, so obviously we need to take into account longer time horizons. I mean, here we had 2 spinning tops before we saw further sell-off over the months to come. So we may still get sideways price action for the next month, maybe even another month. So this market definitely can keep us waiting potentially. But like I said, I am leaning more and more to the bearish side in the short term with these type of signals that the market's giving us.
All right, now you started with the weekly, then you went into the monthly.
Yes.
Your final chart here is the daily. Also bearish?
Yes, and we have jumped around a little bit back and forth, but this is what I'm seeing on the daily chart. So last week we spoke about this ascending triangle, which may have played out, and that's a bullish pattern. However, we look to have spilled slightly, not with any great velocity or energy, to the downside of this supporting trend line, but the pattern of lower highs coming up to, which is buyers coming up to support the price, seems to be failing. And yeah, this general pattern is not looking bullish for me anymore. We haven't had that real build-up of volatility with a push to the upside. We had this fake out, but beyond that, I think that we slowly, the bulls are losing that momentum, and at some point I'm expecting some kind of significant sell-off to come. Obviously, the market can obviously prove me wrong, and we can move to the upside, but at the moment, I'll say that I'm 60-40 bearish in the short term on the current price movements.
So then, Graham, with that outlook, and that is quite bearish, 60-40 is pretty bearish, is that a big enough bias for you to trade and open a short position?
So I'm not taking a short position currently. We are still in a macro bullish setup, so I don't want to trade against this trend right now. So I won't be putting on any trades at the moment, but yes, I definitely won't be taking on any long positions. So I'm quite happy to sit on the sidelines for now, and I know I have been on the sidelines for quite some time. I've been quite inactive on the WhatsApp group, but I think that speaks more to the market and the inactivity and the lack of opportunities I've seen in the market more than anything else. So I'd like to see a nice move one way or another, and that will then reassert to me, is this market looking more bullish or more bearish? But right now, I'm quite happy to sit on the sidelines and keep my money in my pocket. So
that's where we're going to leave it for today then, folks. Pretty simple. It's looking pretty bearish in the short term, but not bearish enough for Graham to open a short. Graham, thanks so much. We appreciate your input as always.
Thanks, James.
And we will try and get back either next week or the week after, depending on how the price materializes. This edition proudly sponsored by the DeFi conference, 5th of August. It's an all-day event. It's entirely free. Go to bitcoinevents.co.za to register. From myself, James Preston.
And myself, Graham Tennant.
Goodbye.
Cheers for now.